Well, hey crafty friends, it's Hiedi Scott with DIY and on today's video tutorial I am going to show you how to make a beautiful floral pillow using some old quilt pieces. We're also going to use a variety of black buttons, and we're going to use a hot gluing device, and we will actually be using a needle and thread. So as you're hopping on, say hello, let me know where you're watching from, feel free to sprinkle all that good stuff. All right, let's start at the very beginning. I love vintage quilts. Just like you probably, if it's in decent shape, I'm going to have a very hard time cutting it up, and that is why when I'm crafting I really only use vintage cutter quilts. And what that is it's pieces of quilt that just they're not really usable anymore. This was one that I purchased at an antique fair, and you can see like this quilt has been so loved, that the fabric is worn off and the inside lining is popping through. So hopefully that answers that first question, because I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, I can't bear to cut up an old quilt. Well, when they're like this, I'm going to kind of cut around the damage and use the parts that are usable to make something that, especially if it's a family heirloom, that it will be a good memento. So today we are making a flowery pillow, and it's going to have black buttons on it, which is completely different from my normal. Okay, I'm using this pattern that I made with computer paper. These are the petals. They're 7 1/4 inches long and about 3 inches wide. And I see this crummy spot right here. I'm not going to use that place, but I'm going to use some of this fabric next to it that's still in decent shape. And I'm just going to pin my pattern onto my little quilt. And you don't even have to be careful. Let me move my pillowcase out of the way so I don't accidentally cut it. Okay, when your quilt is this tattered and this old and this well loved, you're really going to have to sew around the edges, because otherwise the stuffing, gosh, I'm covered, is going to want to kind of fall out. So let me show you what I did. If you have a sewing machine, you obviously can just sew around the edge. You can do either a straight stitch or you could do a blanket stitch, depending on how fancy your sewing machine might be. See? So I used that piece that was good right next to all this that's completely worn out. And this is what I ended up with. And I just cut a whole bunch of these, okay? Then the next step is to go around them. And like I was just saying, if you have a sewing machine, if you know how to sew, you can use that. And you can use, you know, whatever size stitching appeals to you, whatever color thread appeals to you. Just to do something totally different today, I am using black. Okay, but since I know not everyone has a sewing machine, I have been putting this one together using an old-fashioned, and these are some pieces that I haven't finished up yet. I'm going to use an old-fashioned sewing needle and thread. Whoops. And you can see what I mean about how it's going to want to come apart when it's this tattered and old. Sorry. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a running stitch, I guess is what this is called. A cinching stitch, a straight stitch. I'll hold it up in just a second and show you. Okay, and you can't see it very well, whoops, here. But I will show you on these. And you can go as far out to the edge as you want. I worked on this last night while we were watching TV. And it takes about 2 minutes to sew each petal. And then I just put a knot on the back, which is gonna be glued to the pillow. So that will not matter one single bit. Okay, I've got all these extra pieces, and we are using this Magnolia Design coat. Let's see if I can turn my camera a little bit better. Pillow cover. These are great. They have a hidden zipper and tote in the bottom. They're lined. These are just really nice, comfy pillows. Now this pillow that we're making today is decorative. It's not meant to be washed. Don't put it in a crib or a bed. It's meant to be sitting on the sofa or on the hearth just for decoration. Okay, so like I told you, this was my pattern. It's just a, well, I don't even know what that shape is. Pointy oval. And these are the pieces that I have. So I'm going to kind of lay it out and then measure a little bit, and we'll go from there. Okay, and I didn't have a lot of pieces that have this yellow, so I wanted to do those on the top and bottom. Okay, and I do want to use a ruler to see if I'm anywhere close to being centered. 7 1/4. Nope. Okay, and I'm just going to pin these down for just a second. I have a really fun button idea to add to this too. Okay, so there's my top and my bottom. And then I kind of decided that these two pieces right here are similar, sort of. And I'm going to put these, I'm going to make my pillow have, well, we'll count in just a second. It's not going to be exactly symmetrical. Okay, let me just get this kind of laid out. So this is basically what it's going to look like, and I have a round that I've already stitched for the center. And we're going to add a little bit of Crafter's Polyfill underneath each pillow, each petal, just to make it sort of stick out a little bit, and then we'll be doing buttons. And I decided to do this super easy route, which I'm using my Surebonder Cool Shot Low Temperature Hot Gluing Device. You can get these everywhere, under $10. I'm using the regular glue sticks that go with this brand, not the fabric, because the fabric ones are more expensive. And also, we're never going to wash this pillow. It would totally fall apart. And that's really the only time that you gotta make sure that you use that special glue. Okay, so I'm just going to fiddle for just a second with how I have my pieces laying down. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 pieces. All right, and let's just do a quick pin. Going all in the same direction. I laid them out so that, I'll lift it up and show you, but so that there's, they're laying over the top of the next one. So that goes there, and then this goes here. Okay, and this is going to be pretty busy already, so I'm not going to fret if I don't have it exactly, you know, all measured out exact. Ow. And I'm going to try not to draw blood with my pins. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. And then it'll have the centerpiece. And then I'm going to put a bunch of black buttons on it. Thank you so much for sprinkling, Jody. And I saw somebody did stars and I missed that. I'm sorry, but thank you so much. That really helps me and I really appreciate it. Okay, so let's start with the gluing. And I'm going to glue from the outside in. It's going to be a little complicated because I still want to keep them overlapping the way they are here, but I'm just going to put a band of glue and I will get super close-ups because this is so pretty. It's also pretty raggedy, which is fine by me. But if it's too raggedy for you, then just use a slightly newer quilt. And it doesn't even have to be an old one. Or you could do just little pieces of fabric. It doesn't have to be a vintage quilt. I just happen to love vintage quilts, so that's what I'm working with. I'm gluing the outside of each petal down first. And I can come back and add more glue. Get some of these glue strings off myself. What do you guys think so far? Do you like this idea? Where did I get the quilting? Okay, this quilt I bought at an antique fair. Which way does this go? Like that. Nope. This. And in Cumming, Georgia, for, I don't know what I paid, $60 or $70. And this is just the very top of it that was totally falling apart. I still have all the bottom half. And I think what I'm going to do with that is I am either going to make placemats or a tablecloth or something like that. Okay, let me figure this out. Over. Okay. So let me just get this all glued down. I see two Susans, Susan Schouten and Susan F, E-H-N-E-R. I don't know how to say that, Susan. Tell me in the comments if you have any old tattered quilts that you can use to do something like this. So I bought this at a like an antique festival. I have seen things similar online on pieces. They're called cutter quilts on like Etsy. Okay, I think I've gone all the way around. All right, and let's take, let me think, I guess I'll take my pins out. And I'm going to glue up a little bit further so we can stick a little piece of polyfill in each one. Okay, the reason why I like this kind of a glue stick, Linda White says she has several old quilts of her grandma's. Well, if they're beyond the point where you could use them anymore, then I suggest that you do something with them so that you'll get some enjoyment out of them besides just having them stashed away, if you know what I mean. And so make something with them, craft with them. Several of you guys said that you were going to make stuff for like relatives, that you had grandma's, you know, quilt. Oh shoot, I got glue on that. I'll have to melt that off. That you had some quilt from grandma, great grandma, and that you were going to make stuff for like your siblings and your nieces and that kind of thing. Let me just get all the way around this. I guess I'm not worrying about which piece is on top of the next piece because I've completely lost track of that. Okay, let's just take a little bit of our polyfill. This is my favorite. This is polyfill. I get this at Walmart, but I imagine they carry it at most fabric stores. It's Crafter's Polyfill Choice, Crafter's Choice, and it's dry polyester packing, fiberfill 20 ounces, and it says it's ideal for doll making. And what I like about this is how stiff it remains. I need something to push my batting down to the point of each one of these flowers. Kimberly Lyons says she's in a fabric club and this is awesome for extra pieces. This is a great craft for just little scraps of whatever kind of fabric it is that you have. And go crazy, you know. Combine colors that you wouldn't normally do, I think. I do almost everything for my house in cream. That's just my own personal color preferences. Needs to be glued down a little bit more. So I was just gonna do something kind of different today. And this is totally different from my usual cream everything. And I'm also not using vintage mother of pearl buttons. I'm using a variety of black ones. If you sew, most likely you could clean out your sewing cabinet or sewing box or whatever you might have, and I bet you have black buttons. Most people do. Okay, let's get all the way around here. I'm not going to make these super puffy, just a little bit. Okay, let's glue almost all the way down and then we'll work on this. See, that's going to go right there. And then we'll add some black buttons. So talk amongst yourselves while I get this accomplished here. I'm going to poke in just a little bit more stuffing before I glue the other side down, and I will come back afterwards and clean it all up. Okay. Look how stiff this polyfill is. It's great. And I'm going to use a variety of black buttons. Some of the buttons I'll be using I have had from, you know, jars and stuff of buttons. And some of them I purchased at Dollar Tree. So, and some of these were like in my mom's sewing kit, some were in mine. I have a big variety. Did I glue this one all the way down? Well, heck, looks like I did. We'll have to come back and see if I can get this open. Or just live with it. That's probably what I'll do, just live with it. So even if you are not a quilting enthusiast, you can do this exact same project with just regular fabric of your choice. You could do this all in cream. You could do this whole project using canvas duck or drop cloth. Around to see. Needs a little more fluff. And then we'll do a bunch of fluff in the center. Okay, so let me do my thing here. Wow. I have had way too many hot glue burns over the years crafting, so I don't use any high temperature hot glue anymore. To me, it's just not worth it, and I always seem to get it on my fingers, so what's the point of putting myself in that position, because then it hurts to, you know, do anything with your hands. And of course there's always dishes and laundry and stuff that need, and things that need to be cleaned up around the house, so I need to be able to use my hands and not have them burned off. Okay, I think I'm mostly there. Isn't that cute already? Oh my goodness. Okay, so this was just a random piece that I did my best to cut a circle that was 5 inches. And there's no real specific way. Darn, I really wish I could get into that one. But this needs to go on here, so I'm just going to start. Wow, I see a lot of people on. If you like this project, feel free to sprinkle. Today was my vintage quilt day, in case you're watching live. This morning, I restreamed a video from a couple years ago with some flower and butterfly projects that I made several years ago, like 3 years ago. And tonight I'm restreaming that. This morning I did something else, but it was a quilt. So it was made with a quilt. So if you like that kind of thing, or you have friends that love quilts and stuff, you might want to check it out. Okay, let me grab some fluff for the center. And when I'm all finished. I'll put a pillow insert inside of this. This is a pillow insert that's available from magnoliadiy.com. I use these all the time. They are great. They hold up really well. And if you would like a supply list or a replay of this video, just let me know in the comments and I'll get that for you as soon as I'm finished here. I kind of like the black stitching. I started doing white stitching with white thread, and this is just plain old black thread, nothing fancy. But then I decided midway through that you couldn't really see it. It's cute right now. I mean, honestly, whoops. It really doesn't even need to have anything added to it. And I did it all with the stitching by hand with the needle and thread. And then, oh my gosh, it's so cute. And then hot glue. All right, let's see. I'm sending everything onto the floor. Okay, so my thought was to do some miscellaneous black buttons in the center, and then to do a couple down each petal at different spots, like that. What do you guys think about that idea? And I'm going to move them up and down, like closer to the center on some and further out on others. I'll hold this up in just a second and show you what I'm talking about. And that might look weird, just that one, but I think it's going to be cute. And of course, my projects have to almost always include a button here or there, for sure. I don't have to have 3 on every single one. Some of these I clipped the shank off, and I'll show you that. So see, there's one that's just going to have 2, and they're closer in. Do you guys like this idea? You could totally do this with any color button that you wanted. And they don't have to be fancy or old either. They really don't. Here and do some I was kind of afraid to attempt this because it's so outside of my normal colors, which are usually cream, and cream. Oops. Let's do a few more, and then we'll put some in the center also. Okay, so I want these ones to be maybe up closer. could also do some random ones in here, which I think we will, and around the outside of it. But I'll have to dig up some more random buttons if that's what I'm going to do. This one has a little diamond in it. What do you guys think? Should I use that? I'm not sure about that. This one's pretty bad. Well, I don't want two of those sparkly ones right together. What do you guys think? Of course, I'm going to do every single section of my pillow because I want it to that one's too big. All right, I'm going to just finish this one little petal and then I will come back and do the whole rest of that. But let's move around now to the center. And this is going to be the up because this is the bottom of the pillow. So before I came live, I was fiddling with some buttons to try to figure out I love this one, so I'm going to use that one first. And this is, I think this is not really even a button. I'm not sure what that actually is. A random piece of jewelry, but I'm going to use it. And then, see, what I'm thinking is, what would you think if there were just some, like, random buttons here and there? Or is that going to make it too busy? What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments. Too busy? Oh, goodness. won't do the outside, but just finish my little petals. Hopefully it'll look good once it's done, because I'm committed at this point. And there isn't any going back once you've reached this point. Okay, so this is almost finished. And I think once it's stuffed, it's going to be adorable. And when you look at it up close and you see that there's black stitching around each piece, it will make sense. Linda says it's so pretty. Don't add to the outside is what Evelyn says. And I think Susie said that as well, and someone else. Okay, well, tell me what you guys think. Whoops. And let me just review real quick what I used. I used tattered quilts. Tattered quilt pieces that could not be saved. I did not cut up a quilt that was usable. This is what past different pieces of it look like. You can see it's totally falling apart. So I used that. I had a little pattern, which is 7 1/4 inches long and 3 inches this way. And then the center is 5 inches. I glued them. Oh, I used just black thread and a sewing needle to do the little stitch around them, which was really necessary with these pieces because they were basically falling apart. And a little bit of stuff and fluff, hot glue, and that's pretty much it. So tell me what you think. I'm pretty happy with it. I will finish it up. Finish fluffing it up and all that good stuff. I think it's going to be adorable. Do you guys think I should add any more buttons on the center? I would like to know. Anyways, hope I've given you some ideas that you could do this exact same idea with a quilt, new or old, or basically with any kind of fabric. You can use a variety of colors. You can use buttons, whatever style you like. They could be metal, they could be white mother of pearl, they could all be orange, depending on what your project was and where you were going to use it. This pillow cover is from magnoliadiy.com. It comes a set of 2. It has this hidden zipper in the bottom. Super nice, thick, great quality, and that's pretty much it. Okay, Christina McPherson says, yes, put more buttons in the center. Okay, well, I will fiddle around with that when I'm off camera. And Kelly Wallace says, yes, a few more buttons in the center, just a few. Joan Ludwowski, I probably didn't say your name right. I'm sorry, Joan. She says she loves it. What size is this pillow? This is a 18 by 18 pillow cover. And you can use an 18 by 18 insert or a 20 by 20 insert. Both of those will fit it. And you can get those at any, really at any fabric store or craft store. Or you can fill it with polyfill. Or you can take an old pillow apart and use that insert. There's lots of ways that you can stuff it. Alrighty, well, I hope you guys have a blessed and wonderful rest of your day. Be looking back here later for pictures of my completed project. I need to look at it a little bit, think about how I want to finish it off, melt a zillion glue strings, oh my goodness, and stuff it. And then I will get pictures, I'll put them here, as well as just on DIY Dreaming. If you want a replay of this video because you missed the beginning, just let me know, and I'd be glad to get that for you. Have a blessed and wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys later.